back to Conversations on Deck, and today is Two for Tuesday, folks. We're looking at this 1996 Upper Deck VJ Lavero showcase card, showcasing none other than Jay Bone Buhner and his son, Chase. This is a great card. I'll put it the way it should be, a little landscape. And this was a card that I got in the mail from a good friend, the Babe Ruth Collector, or another name for him is Mr. Bubblegum. Check him out. I'm going to read the back of the card. This is what VJ Lavero says about that shoot. Jay Buhner's appearance belies his personality. The scowl, those piercing eyes, and his signature dome make him look like the last person you'd want to meet in a dark alley. Yet the truth is, Jay is a fun-loving family man who gives his all to the fam. On a 2-day shoot in Washington, Jay gave me the great picture opportunities that I could ever ask for. The front shot features his son Chase jumping onto his dad's lap to say goodnight, but not before helping out the shoot. Now, VJ Lavero had an exclusive contract with Upper Deck in '96, and he was able to, have his own insert set, which was pretty cool. He was also a photographer for the Anaheim Ducks, the Anaheim Angels, and Sports Illustrated. And this was actually on a Sports Illustrated cover in '96, and it was called The Boys of Summer. And then 20 years later, Sports Illustrated took another picture of Jay and Chase and called it The Men of Summer. Unfortunately, VJ Lavero was not alive. He had passed away in 2004 at the age of 44 of cancer. So that is totally a bummer. And Jay Buhner, let's talk a little bit about him. He was born August 13th, 1964 in Louisville, Kentucky. He came to Seattle in 1988. That was a great year. It's when I graduated from high school with a trade with the Yankees for their DH, Ken Phelps. And in '96, Seinfeld could not resist doing a gig with the New York Yankees with, George's dad, Frank Costanza, just totally ripping George Steinbrenner for trading Jay Buhner. And that was a great episode. And people still laugh about that today. Here's a little bone wisdom for you before we get into his '96 stats. Quote, "A setback ain't nothing but an opportunity for a comeback." End quote. I think that's great. And I think that's so true. Is we can look at a setback. Are we going to make that the end of the game or the end of the race, and then we just don't try ever again? No, not at all. I mean, that's life. You fall down, you get up. You have a setback. Okay, let's have a comeback. And keyword there is opportunity. We all have opportunities in life. We got 24 hours in a day. I always tell students, you have a choice every breath you take. From the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed. You could choose to be positive, negative. You could choose to take advantage of the opportunities or not. And that's up to you, wherever you want to go. But I love that. And I think that's very true for baseball teams especially. Look at the Boston Red Sox this year. Before the All-Star break, they were 14 games, I think, behind first place. And then they went on an amazing win streak. It was just crazy. And look at them now. There is an opportunity for them to get in the playoffs. Well, let's look at Bone in 1996. He was 31 years old. He had a 3.5 WAR. He played in 150 games. He had 107 runs, 153 hits. That's awesome. 29 doubles, 44 home runs. He has Reggie Jackson's number for home runs. 9 hit by pitches. Could you imagine the pitcher hitting Bone and getting that stare back? 138 RBIs, 88 walks, and then sadly, he led both leagues in strikeouts with 159 Ks. But again, if you don't swing, you're not going to have that opportunity to get a hit. So I appreciate that. 271 batting average. He was also an all-star and a gold glover that year. And I think that was a highlight year for him for sure. Griffey was known more for the defensive highlights, but Buhner in 96, man, he honed his game. He stole a lot of home runs that season. Well, speaking of Griffey, he and Griffey were great friends, but, as players come onto the team and, Buhner was already there. Griffey came in 89. He's a young kid, teenager. Jay Buhner's a little bit older. And so they got to know each other. And a lot of times it was because of proximity, being in the outfield. And here's what Bone said, quote, "In the 90s, we were meeting so many times in center field, it was ridiculous. We were losing games 12-10, 13-9. He and I wore out a path to right center." End quote. And I'm sure there were lots of conversations that were being had in between the innings, in between, pitchers being relieved. Probably a lot of jokes, a lot of laughs. And you know what? Maybe there were other, uplifting times. Maybe there were times of prayer. I know Jay is a very strong Christian man. So we just don't know. But we do know he is a family man, as this card shows us. So it was a fun card. Thank you, Babe Ruth Collector. Thank you, Mr. Bubblegum. Thanks to all of you in the hobby. Have a great day, folks.